In the Bible and the Holy Quran, I've read so much about Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Yes.
Has any research been done into the similarities, if there are any, between Jesus, Mary, mother of Jesus, and the mother of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him?
No. No such research has been done, nor we ever thought it to be relevant to the issue. Because Mary is referred to as a symbolic lady of perfection in chastity, whereby she is told by the Quran to have given birth to a child without having any relationship with the human being or without having any reference to her own personal desire to meet man, woman, all that's related to sex, etc., etc. It was totally irrelevant to Mary, and yet a child was born entirely under the influence of Allah's will. So the future promised Messiah is not related to any other mother. He is related to the same Mary, which means something of that nature should happen to the making of Christ in him. So that is why he never said that my mother was said that chaste and my mother was like this and she had any similarity to Mary. What she said was that according to the Holy Quran, all believers, true believers, are either similar to the wife of Pharaoh or they are similar to Mary. No man is mentioned in this, likeness, in this relationship of believers in Rasulullah with any other holy personage. There are so many prophets. Why didn't Allah say they're like Moses, like Abraham, like no? All believers are likened unto either wife of Pharaoh or the wife or mother of Jesus Christ. And then in that same place, the Holy Quran says, the one who guarded her chastity, and Allah breathed into him, not into her. Breathed into him, and lo, Jesus was born. Now, this is a very interesting deviation from the normal expectation, because in another place the Holy Quran says regarding the birth of first Jesus that God breathed into her, and so Jesus was born. This time it was a male mother as if, because God is referring to the breath into Jesus, referring to him as a male who is the recipient of that breath. But mother is not mentioned as her. The obvious reason is because the simile of all Muslim males are, similarity of all Muslim males is mentioned to that of Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. So Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ, in view of this Quranic injunction, discussed this matter, which has become the laughing stock of the mullahs because they don't understand these things. Only a few days ago, I took up some of the objections and their joking and mocking at Masih Maud ﷺ, because he says, spiritually, I passed through a phase which was similar to Mary. And it was that Mary from which that Jesus is born, who is the Masih, the promised Messiah. So within me was that spiritual birth taking place. Now, the blind laugh at this and joke at it because they don't understand that the Quran says exactly the same thing. Yes.
Do you think, Hazrat, that it could be, well, you was mentioning about the breath
Yes.
was passed into her, Hazrat Mary,
Yes.
that Hazrat Isa, alayhi salatu wasalam, that he was born as a prophet and he knew it. Even at the young age, he preached.
I'll come to that a bit later. Just a minute.
Right.
But let me finish. This is a very important question which is raised. Hazrat Masih Maud, like all believers, are likened to Mary or the wife of Pharaoh. I leave that out for a while. Let me return to the question of how believers are to be like Mary. They can only be like Mary if they do not permit their own personal ambitions to gain greater heights in the nearness of Allah, to play any role. Their personal ambitions should be totally divorced from their desire to rise spiritually. If that is chastity in spiritual terms. If a person believes himself to be a holy man, if he desires to be to gain a status in the sight of the world, then it is not a chastity at all. It is something born of his deeper inner, what they say, worldly or materialistic desire to display his grandeur and to become great in the sight of the people of the earth. So it's mundane in character, it's not spiritual. Now, in case of true believers, they do not want to grow in the sight of people. They only disappear and grow in the sight of God. So anyone who is born out of that state is likened to Jesus. They, in that case, become Mary, who gave birth to a Jesus. So every true believer should give birth to a sort of Jesus, small or big, but he must go through that phase of inner sacrifice, of killing his own personal desires, only having God in mind. And then God promises, you have not demanded anything, we like this. And this state of affair is bound to give birth to a greater spiritual being from within you. So it was only in this manner that Masih Maud discussed it. So that is why his mother is irrelevant to this. His human mother is irrelevant to issue. According to the Quran, the future Jesus would be born. The one which is promised, of course, would be the Jesus. But even in case of other Muslims who are truly genuine to the cause of Islam, who are truly dedicated to Allah and the Holy Prophet, they also give birth to a higher man within them. And this has been fully witnessed and supported by the great Muslim scholars and ulama who were divine scholars and ulama in the past. So I quoted amply, extensively from them to those mullahs. I said, look at, this is what they have said. They've gone through the same experience. And they have described it even more apparently materially to bring the likeness. Said, we have this, we had this feeling, and then we were born out of ourselves, a new birth. That is khalq-e akhir. So these people, the worldly people, they laugh at it, and like Jesus was laughed at, and they don't understand the deeper implications of these things.